aliens dominate the Earth. Freedom seems lost. But luckily there are those who resist. XCOM fighters from all parts of the world go against the oppressor as they join Commander Konoa's forces. Legends are born like the Lebanese Danos Nizari Santoriu, the Mexican Lorenzo Hill, or the Russian Natalie Brinkov. Together with your created characters, we will push the aliens off our planet. But first, let's start at the beginning.
Accessing the feed now. We're in. But I don't know for how long. You seeing this? Way too much security, even for Advent.
That's no ordinary gene therapy clinic. They were telling the truth.
Or they're leading us into a trap. A really obvious trap. We'd need an army to march in there right now.
I've got a better idea. Outrider, this is Central. Go.
Timeline you placed upon us, mistakes are bound to happen.
It wasn't our fault. Please!
There's no need for any of this. I will do what you ask of me. I just need additional time.
Did you say something?
You're one of those. You must understand, I had no choice.
Outrider, report.
So, you do exist. Outrider to Avenger, I have visual confirmation.
Are you sure?
Reapers are always sure.
I'll take your word for it. Cover your tracks and get the hell out of there. They can't know we were here. Yet.
Understood. Now the real war begins.
Excitement continues to build as city centers across the globe prepare for the 20th anniversary of Unification Day.
Thousands line up at the site of the Great Accord, celebrating the formation of the Advent Coalition.
Keeping with their promise to humanity, 12 new gene therapy clinics will be opening in select cities by the end of the new year.
Despite the attempted attack by fringe elements, operations at the new facility in Paris thankfully remain unaffected.
In response to the unprovoked intrusion on the eve of our most beloved celebration, the speaker reaches out to us.
A small number of dissidents again repeat the mistakes of the old world.
Striking as we celebrate a benevolent savior who time and again offers only friendship and compassion.
Yet these trivial actions could never break the bond between humanity and the Elders.
Peacekeeping forces have already made several preemptive arrests of known collaborators. Advent again assures all citizens that today's celebrations will continue as planned.
Perfect.
The Advent administration reminds you to report all suspicious activity to your nearest peacekeeper. Only together can we build a better tomorrow.
Approaching position. You were right. They've definitely got their hands full today.
Stay focused. Prep gate crasher. 60 seconds.
Signal received. Loud and clear. Okay, Gatecrasher. Your turn.
After the first war with the aliens had been lost, Commander Konoa had been captured. With help of intel, XCOM launched a desperate attempt to get him out by sending 2 units to secure and retrieve the commander. The units were codenamed Crasher 1 and 2. They were from Nigeria and Mexico.
They're holding position. We're gonna have to go through them. Stay out of sight till we're ready to strike. Copy that.
Once the distraction had started, the 2 rookies would strike.
Remind me to thank the old man.
You and me both.
Crasher 1 saw an opportunity to draw first blood. Without ever knowing what happened, one of the Advent troopers went down. In response, the Advent fired back, but luckily missed. This then gave Crasher 2 the chance to retaliate and thin out their numbers more. But she had left her cover, and a flanking trooper managed to kill her. Crasher 1 killed another, but as he needed to reload, help came from an unlikely angle.
She's calling reinforcements. Stop that. Transmission.
Central, reporting in.
You're late. What have you been doing down there?
Taking in the sights.
The hell are these things?
They're us. At least there used to be. Human hybrid soldiers. Advent's reward for obedience and service.
We've all heard rumors. I just never believed it was true.
No one wanted to. But we find what we're looking for today. I promise you that's gonna change. Let's move.
Bradford immediately barged through the window as Jane picked up some useful dropped supplies. Enemy reinforcements were called in, including a higher ranking unit. Crasher 1 volunteered to stay behind to welcome them. As the troopers had barely set foot on the ground, one of them was ripped to shreds by the lone soldier. He tried to hit the officer, but unfortunately missed. As Crasher 1 was in heavy combat with the Advent troopers, Jane tried to hack her way through the sealed door inside.
To secure the baggage.
Let's hope our intel was good.
This is the place.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Looks like there's an access panel attached. If you got me a better look, I might be able to...
Next time. Let's get out of here.
The soldiers needed to evac fast, but the front entrance was impossible as the enemies managed to kill Crasher 1. Jane created an alternative route with her grenade as Bradford hurried with Konoa on his back.
Finally! There's potentially decades of atrophy to contend with.
Wish we had more time.
I don't disagree.
But as it stands now, we risk losing the patient if we don't begin the removal procedure immediately.
We're ready.
Good. Then let's get on with it.
Remarkable.
Just like 20 years ago. We were still calling it a war back then. We had no idea what was coming.
Response from the cerebral cortex. Good. Prepping for cranial intrusion. I've managed to identify the connection. Preparing to make final incision.
These readings are getting really erratic.
Of course they are. These implants were never designed to be removed. We are risking severe...
No plan B here, people. Do it.
Pupillary response normal. Vital stabilizing. Procedure complete.
Told him it would take more than that to keep you down. Welcome back, Commander. Glad to see you're finally coming out of it. Don't envy the headache you must have, though. Still, can't fault Dr. Tigan. Especially as no one's even attempted something like this before. Easy. We're still not entirely sure what they did to you. That chip was buried halfway into your skull. Lost a lot of good soldiers looking for you over the years. Almost gave up hope you were still out there. Acted on the intel as soon as I got word. Not sure what you remember, but a lot's changed. Did the best I could, but the last 20 years have been tough without you. You feel like catching up? Shen has the archive up and running on your terminal. Otherwise, I'd go see Dr. Tigan when you're ready. There's some things you should know. He'll be better at explaining them than me. It's damn good to have you back, Commander.
Konoa needed some time to adjust. He wasn't feeling himself. He did as Bradford suggested and went to see Dr. Tigan.
Impressive, isn't it? Capable of generating immense power, yet completely harmless to human life. If only the same could be said for the rest of the aliens' technology, Commander. Dr. Richard Tigan, Chief Science Officer. I am responsible for the entirety of our research here, as well as the procedure you so recently underwent. Welcome to my lab, such as it is. I'm not sure what Central may have told you, but we found something while removing you from the alien stasis suit. A device implanted directly in your occipital lobe. Had I access to the equipment available to me during my tenure at Advent, I would already know the precise nature of its function. However, given time and your approval, of course, Commander, I assure you, I will find out. Which brings to light an additional point. Though aspects of this facility are indeed impressive, I am but one man. Were you to direct additional support personnel and resources to me, I could substantially improve the speed of all our research. Farewell, Commander.
As the researchers were able to remove the chip implanted by Advent, they now had an opportunity to study the inner workings of the device to gain a better understanding of their motivations. Konoa gave this the highest current priority. The young Irish, Jane Kelly, who performed excellent on planting the bomb, hacking the door, and coming up with an alternative escape route, was promoted to sergeant. She took the title of Ranger and was confident in leading the team on the next mission.
I heard you, Shen. When we get the thing, you'll be the first to know.
Attention. Unauthorized presence detected.
Commander, give me a second. Execute Echelon Protocol.
Attention. Senior Command Exchange confirmed.
I had wanted that to be a little more ceremonious, but we've got something. A local resistance cell just located this hybrid magnetic power converter that Shen's been pushing us to find. They tracked the device to a nearby Advent convoy and are attempting to take it down. If we can bring this converter back in one piece, we might actually get this place up and running and give the aliens a real war for a change. The squad is prepped and ready to launch on your order, Commander. Just give the word.
Konoa had barely any time to get to know his new appointed soldiers. The team, mostly consisting of rookies, would be led by Sergeant Kelly. There were many different faces. There was the American, Charles Watts, who had served in the US Army for the last 5 years before the aliens attacked. After the military was scrambled, he and a handful of men, including his best friend who was his second in command, stayed at an abandoned outpost. For months they were able to hold out, until finally they were found. Charles saw his friend being torn to pieces, and got separated from his other men. He then was found and picked up by the XCOM team due to his military background. There was the Russian Alexander Zlatsov, who everyone called White Wolf. Zlatsov's family had been in all great wars dating back to the First World War. Zlatsov was too young to fight in the initial war against the aliens, and felt that the war against the Advent was his calling. He joined XCOM without a single hesitation. And there was the American, Jared McIntosh, better known as Doc due to the goggles he had always hanging above his glasses. He functioned as a combat medic, though some said he had a talent for precise shooting. When he was captured by the aliens, he saw his whole squad die in front of his eyes as the aliens were testing new weaponry. He managed to escape when the facility he was held at came under attack by XCOM soldiers. Doc always carried a remaining photograph of him and his squad in his pocket. These three, amongst many others, were sent out into battle as they set the first steps to a chance of freedom, finally, into motion. The soldiers sent out by Konoa were on their way to New India to recover an Advent power converter. On board were 8, and amongst them was the American Sarah Ford. She got the nickname Angel due to her blue eyes. She was a trauma surgeon in Kingston when the aliens attacked. Ford was always good at saving people. That way, she felt she did her part. With the Advent now taking control, she finally felt it was time for her to pick up a rifle and fight alongside the others. She wasn't used to handling a weapon, but she hoped that she could become an adept user eventually. On board was the Irishman Connor Cole as well. The man had no nickname, but some like to call him the Big C, Double C, or CC, of which the last he hated, as it reminded him of the word sissy. Others sometimes teased him with this, but everyone knew they could count on Connor. He was a bear of a man and always smoked. His beard always smelled of cigarettes, and his skin bore thin lines because of the smoking. It made his face feel like that of a man who lived, he always joked. He was part of the force that helped defend Ireland back in the day. When it fell, he moved to America to find a force to continue the fighting. His motto always was that there was nothing like a smoke after a good battle. Once the 8 soldiers arrived in New India, Jane Kelly ordered the troops to press forward to locate and secure the converter. The Russian Natalia Brinkov was the first to open fire. The Advent troopers spread out, giving White Wolf the chance to take one of them down as they ran for cover. The officer near the converter ordered his troops to seek cover as well, but both Charles and Connor were not able to take anyone down. Angel hit the officer, but merely wounded its legs. White Wolf finished the job for her. As the rest was battling, Charles hacked into the converter to secure it. One of the Advent had taken cover behind a tree. Connor ran out of patience and resorted to a brash grenade throw to deal with him. The explosion piqued the interest of the nearby sectoid and human hybrid, which slimy feet slipped through the soldier's fingers multiple times. When Charles missed his shot, the nearby truck caught fire. After even Angel and Natalia had missed their shots, Jane yelled to take cover as she blew up the truck, taking out multiple units. Some of them ran, creating an opening for Doc to claim his first kill. The sectoid was merely wounded by the explosion and killed White Wolf Alexander in the chaos. Charles tried to take it out before he could finish off his fellow member, but he was too late. With the sectoid gone, the converter was secured, and the team returned home with one less than they came. For those who returned home, a promotion fell in its place. The Australian Simon Phillips took the title of Specialist and named his mechanical buddy Irwin. Charles Watts received the title of Demolitions Expert, as he would function as the battering ram of the squad. Doc's long-distance shot earned him a position as a sniper, making sure to cover everyone from the higher points. Sarah received the position of sniper as well, and the brass Russian Natalia got the same title as Charles, namely a demolitions expert. She felt it suited her perfectly.
Why are you all just standing around? It's perfect. Come on, let's get it inside.
Jane talked with some friends about the mission and toasted to their fallen ally Alexander Zlatsov, also known as White Wolf. The propaganda poster taken at New India felt incomplete without Zlatsov, who contributed 2 kills in that battle.
Okay, reworked your repulsors with some of the parts I salvaged from their old engine. Should fix that stabilization problem you had. Come on, Rover. It'll work. Commander! Getting our tech to talk to theirs is harder than you'd think. Lily Shen, Chief Engineer, at your service. You were probably expecting to see my father. In all that's happened, I'm guessing Central didn't tell you yet. He's gone. Dad gave everything he had to get us this far. This entire ship is his life's work. I know he would have loved to show you around the place himself. He used to talk about you a lot. You can be sure I'm ready to finish what he started. Might not look it, but from here, I can fabricate pretty much anything you come up with. And with a little more help, well, you'd be amazed with what I can do. It was an honor to finally meet you, Commander.
Konoa ordered the creation of multiple medkits. He talked with Sergeant Kelly about the loss of White Wolf, and thought it would be wise to have some medicine present on the battlefield. Kelly agreed, but also noted that Zlatsov was killed instantly. A medkit would not have made a difference.
Much of my own research based upon this simple design. If only I had known. Ah, Commander, excellent timing. There's been some progress. I've managed to break down several key components of the chip implanted into your skull. My analysis reveals that its primary function was that of a conduit, passing a vast amount of data directly to your cerebral cortex. With the primary connection severed, much of that data is lost. Several fragments do remain, however. Ghosts, if you will. Observe. Tactical combat simulations. War games. The sheer volume of encounters you were processing was astounding. It is truly remarkable that you survived as long as you did. Though this may seem disconcerting, there is still some good news. This chip bears a striking resemblance to a medical implant I briefly assisted in developing at the gene therapy clinic in New Providence. My understanding was that the implants were intended for high-ranking Advent officers only, captains or above. Retrieving a chip from such an officer would be the only way to know for certain. A greater understanding of these implants would undoubtedly benefit us all, Commander.
Dr. Tigan was happy to find that the procedure to remove the implant from Konoa did not have any lasting effects on the commander. As for the chip itself, Tigan noted that the device was psionically driven by the latent energy of the subject's brain. It functioned as both a transmitter and receiver, relaying information via some form of psionic link. Even after removal, Tigan was forced to shield the device to contain the residual psionic fields surrounding the implant itself. Tigan would need more information in the future to exactly find out what the Advent were trying to do to Konoa. After the research on the implant, Konoa opted for research on modular weapons. The magnetic rifles used by Advent's forces were incredibly complex weapons. The rifles themselves self-destruct when their original operator dies, but with a little effort, Tigan might be able to use any recovered parts to improve the weapons of Konoa's forces.
Stay clear of the perimeter, understood? Commander, good. I think we got something here. Despite all of Advent's efforts, there are still people who refuse to believe their lies. And it's time we let them know they're not alone. We've already located a target for our first operation.
Sir, given our current location, there's actually no way the Sky Ranger could reach that position.
Who said anything about the Sky Ranger? Shen, status report. Are we ready?
Short answer, yes. But you might all want to hold on to something.
Konoa headed to the new Arctic region as word got out that a fellow researcher capable of helping Dr. Tigan could be saved and secured not too far from their given location. Konoa once again called forth his gladiators, and this time, rookies Danos Santoriu and Laranzo Hill would join the veterans who had already seen some action. 8 of them left, but the question was, would 8 return as well? Amongst them was the Lebanese rookie Danos Santoriu, who received the nickname Nizari, named after the assassin members that were part of the Nizari Ismaris, the original assassins. Danos was fond of backpacking and was separated from his family when the aliens attacked, as he was in the midst of a trip through Asia. For many months after, he searched half the world to get a word of his family's whereabouts. He eventually found his older brother, who joined up with the first XCOM initiative many years ago. But during an operation, contact with Danos' older brother was lost as well, and he felt like he went through the trauma of losing his family all over again. What saved Danos' sanity was a European woman called Liz. She comforted Danos, and together fell in love and were now expecting their first child. With his firstborn on the way, Danos could no longer stay at the sidelines. He had assassin's blood running through his veins, and though he might have lost his old family, he would not lose hope to fight for a future for his new family. On board as well was the stern Russian Natalia Brinkov. Natalia, also called Natalie by others who could not pronounce her name, spent a lot of time in her youth hunting with her father. She grew up in the Russian countryside and moved to France after graduating high school. During her time in France, the aliens attacked. Initially, Brinkov did not resist. All she thought about was returning home. But she ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time, as a rally by fellow students was held, which ended up in most of the students, including Natalia herself, being captured and interrogated. They needlessly tortured and interrogated Natalia, and eventually left her for dead in one of the streets in Paris. She barely survived, as a nearby family took her in. Natalia still carries the scars on her face and body from the torture. Ever since that day she was saved, she knew she had to do something to stop the Advent forces. The transmitter that was used to contact Konoa's bridge was under attack. If it was destroyed, news like the valuable researcher and more could no longer be signaled from this region. The soldiers needed to protect the device and kill all the enemies. Underground in Beijing, the squad moved forward when Doc saw a perfect opportunity to take the first shot and take out an enemy. He did so perfectly. Others were now alerted to their presence, but luckily, Charles managed to wound one of the sectoids. It still posed a threat, but Phillips was not able to take it down. The same went for Angel, much to her own annoyance. Connor once again resorted to his grenade, wounding the sectoid even more, but still not killing it. Natalia took care of that, as she tore that alien scum to shreds. The group continued as they needed to get to the transmitter fast. Some of the aliens were nearly there. Though he could not see the aliens directly, Charles shot a grenade around the corner, wounding some of the enemies. In response, the nearby Advent officer sent out his troops, including one of those nasty sectoids. Doc took a shot at the officer, but was not able to penetrate its thick armor plating. The sectoid had moved up, but multiple members were not able to kill it behind its cover. Natalia did not care, and blew its cover and the sectoid away. Charles quickly dispersed himself from the final remaining troops as he shot right through the wall. The transmitter and scientists were secure. None had died, and there was a pleasant atmosphere amongst the soldiers on their way back. They returned to the Avenger, hungry and tired, but satisfied.